call a meeting to order. Let's call a meeting to order. It is 7 o'clock, April 16th, 2025. Roll call, please.
Dan Sheik.
Here.
Austin Davies.
Here.
Owen Costanza.
Here.
Betsy Straw. Here. Jeff Goins.
Here.
Bruce Moore.
Here.
Don Sadler.
Here.
Stuart Diamond.
Here. Let's stand for pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
We have no phone participation tonight, and just let everybody know our online feed, the video on YouTube is out.
Sounds working.
Yeah, sound is working, but the video is out. Last week was out too.
Let's get a table. Election.
What is that?
That's what I'm going to talk to David.
No tape this time.
Okay, well, I'm saying took it off that day. It was Thursday, last week.
All right. We have a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion by Jeff and a second by Owen.
Mr. President,
Yes, Austin.
move to amend the agenda to remove the YouTube link top of the first page, just above the agenda.
Fine. Second.
What's the reason?
Okay, we have a motion to remove the YouTube link on the top of the agenda by Austin and second by Betsy. And was there any particular purpose?
Mr. President, I noticed, at least from the beginning of this year, all of our agendas drafted by the clerk include this YouTube link at the top of the agenda, linking to a specific meeting of the board on April 17th, 2024. That meeting was 2.5 hours. A lot of discussion about the clerk and her possible failure to draft minutes on time. So I don't know why the clerk has been including that at the top of all of our agendas this year, but it shouldn't be there and it should be removed.
That's a link for the public. Can I speak?
Isn't there a general link to our YouTube page instead of one particular video?
I will have to call Meeting Code because they're the ones who put it on there, not me. That automatically comes up. I don't put anything.
Click on it. What's the one specific? That's what it said. Actually, I mean, that's not an action item, but the draft agenda is option.
Well, no, because it means a motion and it can be approved or rejected.
So can we click on this link so we can see what it pulls up? Why, we need to it goes to one meeting. The agenda's been printed, it's already out in public, it's just.
It's a motion to add to the agenda.
I'd like to call a question,
Okay, I guess we can do a voice vote. Yes, you were.
No, you need either voice vote. If voice vote will work, that'll be fine, otherwise, of course, if you can't tell by the voice vote, you'll be wrong.
All right, those in favor of removing or changing the link?
Change. Aye.
Is it changing?
Remove.
Remove. Okay. Those in favor of removing the link, yes, it stands.
Question.
It's quite,
That's fine, we can put it back on later, that's fine, let's go.
okay.
Yeah, we can do that.
We have one aye. Those in favor say aye. 2, 3, 4, 5. It sounds like it passes. So we shall motion to remove the link on the top. Passes.
So I would like to make a motion to remove the agenda as well.
All right.
So I would like to hold over number 6 for North Road tree replacement. Second.
The motion by Jeff to hold over tree replacement was seconded by Owen.
Just till next month. The reason being, I reached out to Gail Worley on April 5th, I believe he told me he didn't want to handle this tree issue. I spoke with him, he agreed to take my request to the board on the 21st at 7 PM, so I told him I would be there. He gave me the information, the time, the date, and place, and he wanted to discuss it with his board, because I'm trying to look into a medium as opposed to putting replace it with a $1,600 tree of taxpayers' money when our public works director took it down, disease with North Mobile. We took it down, we hauled it away, we disposed of it. Not knowing, David mistakenly thought that was on our property. So in order to determine, because it's right out this door, we would have to have a survey of the village property to see exactly where our pins are. David searched for the pins. We've always mowed 5 to 10 feet to the north of the trees. So we always assumed it was the village's trees. In order to do that, we'd have to spend about $2,000 to have a survey done. So I reached out to Gail and asked him if we could, instead of spending $1,600 of taxpayers' money, because David was actually doing the right thing, having the authority to take a diseased tree out of the village, and thinking it was ours. I asked Gail if we could come to a meeting and put like a 7-foot tree, way less of an expense to the taxpayers, which would go about 1.5 feet every year and be back there within hardly any few years. It makes due diligence sense to me as a trustee to try to go and ask them to meet us in the middle. Let's talk about this. Let's, here is what the quotes are. Here's what we got. We did 3 quotes. We got a quote that was $1,600 for a 16-foot tree, and around between $600 and $700 for a 7 to 8 foot tree. So I said I would leave work early on that day, go to their meeting, attend it, and ask any questions. I have David putting all the quotes for me. David has reached out to the chief and Gail, and has got no response. So I got involved, and I reached out to Gail on the 5th. I spoke with him on the phone. He agreed that he would take it to the board, and I agreed that I would come to the meeting and answer any questions. So I'm just trying to get some compromise to save the taxpayers some money, because in my mind, that's a lot of money for a tree, which we know will eventually grow and catch up. I think that might, save taxpayers money and use it towards something more important. The tree is important, yes. David did the right thing by taking the diseased tree out of our village and disposing of it. So I just want to go and ask their board, and Gail said he would put on the agenda on the 21st, and I will ask them for some compromise on the cost of the tree, to try and save some money from the taxpayers. To me, it makes sense.
It does.
So I was asking to hold it over to the next meeting. I'll go on the 21st, present my findings, or have the information there for me to ask me any questions. David putting everything together for me. That's probably tomorrow, no later than Friday. So if everyone's okay with that, that's why.
Their meeting is on the 20th or the 21st, because ours is the 21st.
20.
Theirs is the 20th.
It's Tuesday, the 20th.
Yeah, they do Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday, I'm sorry. the 20th. Of this month, yeah, it's coming. That's Tuesday. We're gonna lay it over to the first meeting of next month. That's fine. Yeah, whatever. We're gonna replace the tree. I mean, technically, I really don't think we should have to, because it had North Pole, it was dying, it was diseased. And David took it down to save it from spreading to the other evergreens that are there, the others, or any of them along the building here. But let's compromise, let's try to meet in the middle, save the taxpayers some money. To me, it's common sense. So I'm going to go to their meeting and answer their questions. And Gail agreed, so I think we're in good standing.
Any commentary on this?
I think we should hear what the, primary one gets.
That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. It's not the first time we've collaborated with another tax body.
All right. Any other suggestions? Just call the question. Let's see, well, to remove it,
We don't have to remove it, just bring it over. We'll put it up on the next meeting next month.
okay, so we have a motion to postpone item number 6, which effectively removes it from the agenda. Otherwise,
It doesn't remove it, it just will lay it over to the next meeting.
otherwise,
It's a table until
Table,
the next.
there you go.
They're going to 5:14.
technically, we should have dealt with that.
So tabling until 5:14.
So, like, it's,
We're amending the agenda, right?
okay, I guess we have a motion to table item number 6 to what date? May 14th. Great. Those in favor of tabling to May 14th?
Aye.
Those against? Great. Table to May 14th.
Mr. President, we still have to approve the agenda as amended.
Yes, we do. We have, I guess we will have a voice vote to approve the agenda as amended. We had 2 items, one was to remove the YouTube link on the top, and one to table item number 6. Those in favor of approving tonight's agenda as amended?
Aye.
Those against? Approve tonight's amended agenda. We have a motion to discuss and approve, or I should say, we got a motion on the table to approve meeting minutes from the March 19th, 2025 Board of Trustees minutes. So we have a motion to approve those minutes by Owen.
Second.
And we have a second by Dan. Any discussion on those minutes?
Mr. President,
Yes, Foster.
I move to amend those minutes just to remove YouTube link on the first page.
Right, motion to remove the YouTube link. As we just did.
It's on the minutes.
It's up.
Okay, we have a motion by Austin and a second by Betsy to amend that. Do we want to approve the
Well, take a vote on, a voice vote on the, on this.
Mr. President,
Yes.
just brief discussion. Again, pointing out the issue of this supposedly incorrect YouTube link on agenda minutes. Clerk also has not posted any minutes for this year on our website yet. And the last minutes we were approved at the last meeting were for June of 2024 that had to be drafted by the attorney. Because the clerk was unwilling or unable to draft those herself, those are still not posted either. So this is an ongoing problem with the clerk and getting the minutes done correctly.
All right.
Well, last week, we found
Yes.
out when you guys filed that, nobody, the Attorney General's office, we do not have 24/7 person, we're not obligated to even post the minutes. Post them, yeah, so we have someone against the website.
So that's the position, it sounds like we're doing the clerk. No more minutes.
I can say that, I said, we'll get it, but
All right, so we're not going to try to promptly approve on minutes?
No, what is before the board now is simply a motion to amend the minutes by deleting the YouTube reference, and then after that passes, there will be a motion on the minutes themselves.
All right, do we have, those in favor of amending the minutes, removing the YouTube link for March 19th, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against? All right, the motion to amend the minutes for March 19th passes. Those in favor of approving the amended minutes for March 19th, 2025, say aye.
Aye.
Those against? The amended minutes for March 19th, 2025 is passed. Pray for prompt posted all minutes. Moving on, public comment, any public comment? All right, moving on, we don't have public works here. We have public works reported on packet. Engineer report by the band.
Did anybody have any questions on Public Works? No. I don't know if you noticed today, they were working on Diamond 2 over at Lions Park. I think Chrissy, you stopped by and spoke. It's one of the projects they're working on. We're gonna have, in the next week, we should have our pads laid for our parks, to put porta johns in all of our parks. I spoke with that, those will be anchored down to prevent tipping over for kicks and giggles from the kids in the neighborhoods. But a few projects they're working on. If any of you have any questions, you're more than welcome to ask. We'll answer it for you. If not, we could reach out to David if need be.
I don't get report that the bad fire is finally getting replaced. Pretty soon.
I have a question for the finance chair.
Go ahead, Mr. Davies.
Trustee Goins, I noticed on page 2 of David Howe's report that under administration and planning, it says that he's working on a public works budget in the absence of treasurer. I was wondering if you could tell me when the due date is for a budget and what, if anything, is going on and what are you doing to get a budget developed for everything else in the community?
Usually in the real world, the village president would work with the treasurer, since we only have it doesn't actually fall there when she comes into office, hopefully soon, rather than later, and then she will be working with Carrie for her part of the budget and David with his budget. David has been going about $260,000 under his budget, which is excellent, I think. I can't give you an exact date, Mr. Davies. So
I think the question was when it's due, May 1st.
Yeah,
May.
we have an extension until October.
Automatic extension. I don't know.
Yeah, through state statute, so you can't go as far as October. Yeah. Because we almost went through it last year with Mr. Salad. It was August, or October, get up to a 6 month, 5 state statutes, I believe. Don't hold me to it, I'm not an attorney.
Yeah, I know there's an automatic, I don't remember the exact. It's automatic extension.
So we don't know when that'll be done.
Do you have an answer, Mr. President?
You're the finance chair, Mr.
Mr.
Finance
President,
Chair.
you're the very village
You're the
president.
finance chair, Mr.
Okay,
Finance
let's
Chair.
move
The
on.
finance chair
Let's
has always put that together.
No, that's not true.
Yes, it has.
That's not
4
true.
years I've been president.
It's not true.
Yes, it is.
The treasurer has.
Yes, it is.
Thank you. I can argue and play your games.
That's good, good,
That's
good
right.
choice.
You had a good day today. Thank you.
Have a nice day. All right, so any questions on the engineering report or the wastewater report? All right, moving on to new business. We have an item on the agenda to approve resolution 2025-01, a resolution of village policy of election-related expenses.
I move to approve resolution 2025-01.
Moved by Austin, second by Betsy. Great.
I have a question.
Yes, Mr. Gold.
Who, did the village attorneys provide this resolution? And if not, who did?
I don't believe that he wrote this.
You did not write this. Who wrote this? Could I ask, please?
I drafted this resolution and sent it out to the entire board as well as the village.
And I approved it and added onto it.
And what gives you the right, or what experience do you have doing municipal law, other than your
Mr.
family
President,
practice?
this is my motion. I'd like the first opportunity for debate. Yeah,
Well, then I'll make a motion to remove it from the agenda, and we don't vote on it because it's not done by our village attorneys. You could possibly put us in liability.
I think you're out of order. We already have a motion to discuss it in a second. And
I'm
that's on our
trying to
table.
discuss it.
So, go ahead, Austin.
thank you. So this resolution, just to make clear, this was drafted due to the clerk failing to certify the ballot to put her own name as a candidate for clerk of Poplar Grove, and her apparent refusal to say it, whether she's gonna try to go after the village for reimbursement for $13,000 she spent to get the ballots reprinted to include her on that ballot. So this resolution states that, and I'm paraphrasing somewhat, the village of Poplar Grove, which is a non-home rule municipality, is committed to the responsible and lawful use of public funds. That means it can't be used for any private purpose. And the recent election processes have raised questions about the appropriate allocation of costs related to errors in election administration. And therefore, the village board affirms that public funds should not be used to reimburse any individual, including elected officials, for expenses arising from errors in election-related duties or candidacy processes consistent with Illinois law, and that the village encourages all officials to uphold their duties with diligence to avoid conflicts of interest in election administration. Now, I would recommend that the village adopt this as a resolution based on what is occurred.
I have a question.
I agree. Yes, Mr. Goins.
I'd like to read an email from our village attorney. It says, Trustee Davies, enter this into the record. Trustee Davies, I do not believe there is a need to take action on this. First, the new board could reverse the action anyway. Second, this is not an expense that the village could reimburse. It was a personal expense of the clerk that she decided to pay based on a mistake that was made. It was her personal decision to take this action. The page with her name was accidentally not submitted to me, it says. And she did not respond to the email from the county confirming the proof, where there was no percent. Mistakes happen. By the time she realized the mistake, the ballots had already been printed and they were being distributed by the county. Our very next day, I would have meant, it says WRY, so I'm sure she meant to say very next day. I do not believe the clerk has been requested to be repaid for this as an expense. For these reasons, for this resolution is not necessary. This is from our village attorney. So Mr. Davies is a family attorney or a divorce attorney or a licensed whatever, but he's not a village municipal attorney. I don't think we should act on this because it was not approved by our attorneys. They said it was not necessary. It could put us in the liability. So I don't believe we should vote on this. I think it should be removed from the agenda. I'm sorry. I would go with our attorneys that we retain here for the village work only, not someone else who doesn't have the experience.
Could I speak?
Yes, sir.
Yes, you may. Sir.
I have a slightly different view. I think that what Carrie Lynn was saying was that it may not be necessary to pass this resolution because there's nothing immediately before the board. But on the other hand, if the board wishes to indicate its position from a legal standpoint, this is a perfectly proper resolution.
Thank you, and appreciate you, Trustee Goings, for
Not a problem. It's
reading that email from
reading
the village attorney confirming that there was a mistake on part of the
It's
village.
public information. It's nothing sanctioned.
It was $13,600 that was paid in order to get those ballots out. And the taxpayers of Poplar Grove should not be footing that bill, and that was the point of this resolution.
Who said they were gonna foot the bill?
Mr. Goings, you're out of order.
Thank you, sir.
Now,
Yes, point.
thank you. This resolution is emotional. Clerk Miller and all of us are W-2 employees of the Village of Poplar Grove Corporation. Our employee, her duties are by state statute. That is certifying the ballot. It just so happens she was the only one on that certification for that position. What if Pamela was on that and that case?
She'd be voted on.
I don't think so. I would have.
I know.
We do no public
You need
comment.
to make full attention and your eyes are rolling and you're not.
Can I speak?
No.
Yes, you can enter public comments.
I'm a citizen and I pay all your salaries. So, and I've been a citizen of Poplar Grove far longer than any of you. Trustee Goins, you just a few moments ago were arguing and debating the fact of saving $1,000 on a tree. This is a protection for our village. You and Clerk Carrie Anderberg weren't
That's my- thank
allowing
you.
my mistake. I wasn't allowed a mistake, so you voted me off the island. So the bottom line is, it's a mistake, yes, okay. It's a humongous error. We do not want the village of Poplar Grove and citizens. I've surveyed my neighbors and friends and those that would have voted for me, had you guys not emotionally voted.
You're making
You
false
talk about
accusations.
emotionally voting, emotional voting.
I didn't say nothing.
You're out of order, Mr. Golding.
Can you just listen for a moment? The bottom line is, the citizens of Poplar Grove do not understand and cannot be made to understand why someone would pay $13,600 and some odd dollars for a $12,000 a year job. We just don't understand it. And I'm speaking for all of my friends, families, and neighbors. This is a protection against us. If she's not gonna do it, then she should have no problem signing off on it with honesty, ethics, and integrity. That's what I have to say.
If you could please fill out a yellow sheet.
You filled it
For the right call, you fill it out.
I might
Yes,
make a
I-
mistake, you fill it up.
Yeah, continue.
Should you feel?
Yes, okay.
So,
So some of us here own businesses and have employees that make mistakes. And
Can you speak up, man? I can't hear you down here.
It's its microphone.
No,
It's its microphone.
that's better.
Speak into it.
Pam, I can honestly tell you, if that happened and you were on that, I would be sitting here right here saying we need to correct it. Because that's the duties, and that's an employee, just like anything else.
I kind of doubt that.
Well,
Like you stood out from me, I don't believe a word you're saying.
I didn't have anything to do with you.
You did.
What did I do?
Oh, and don't engage her. Don't engage her.
You're out of order again, Ms. Goins. I would like to add to this too, because I made a mistake. I asked for the package to run for trustee again. You said that you would not hand them out. It wasn't your job. So I went down to over here, they said, it's not their job, it's your job. Well, they said it was your job.
Actually,
Under
So I
the,
brought it back in here.
if you want, it says.
Hold on, wait.
Under the-
Let me finish. Everybody's got a chance here. Okay? There was a page missing out of it. And what you guys do, you do this big hip law. And what I could have did, I could have protested. Who's gonna pay for that? The village or me?
the village paid.
I would have had to. So what's the difference here? If she made a mistake, or I made a mistake. But now you wanna pick up hers?
Who said she even asked for anything? Who
I'm
said?
just asking you.
Well, you guys are putting words in her mouth. She hasn't asked for nothing, just like the attorney said. And your motion, your resolution can be rescinded. It's a waste of time. And you had someone that wasn't by our village attorney doing the resolution. Let's let Owen finish. Let's listen to what Owen has to say.
What's there?
Are you done now, Owen?
At your point, the clerk stopped sending the packages out and recommendations from attorneys.
The attorney's doing
Was
it.
there a memo sent out?
Yeah, there you go.
That's from the attorney because of the previous inflection. What happened? $26,000 was expense because of that.
And why?
That
So
one,
why
yeah,
did the village pay for that?
because that's the law. That's state statutes. The village is responsible for that.
Whose law? Your
Just
law?
like, no, the state, that state statutes that the village picks that up, not us. And just like the little one that we just had, the village had to pick that up. It's the law. That's your God-given right to have, protest anyone's petitions. That's the law. She's not asking for nothing. This is a waste of time. This could be amended by a future board, village president, And it's prepared by someone who's not a municipal attorney. And let's let Owen finish what he has to say.
And to the point of all this, and the participation here, you're using this board to single out an individual
Yes.
and retaliate against someone who hasn't done anything yet.
Oh, man.
Oh, may I comment on?
As much as you guys have done to Don,
You're
in this
opening up
time,
a lawsuit.
May I comment briefly?
Yes, sir. But you're done with that. You said that here a couple times.
what's that?
You said you were done with Don on video a couple times. Did I mishear that? Hey, Bruce was done with Don a couple times. You said that here, right?
What was that?
Bruce said he was done with Don a couple times here.
Done with Don, I don't, what do you mean done with Don? What,
All right, let's move on.
my-
Let's move on.
I wanted to comment on the obvious conflict of interest, and I wrote that in an email.
Oh, I don't get those.
No,
You don't email me nothing.
no,
I understand that. I don't fault you for not copying. I've been forwarding those in.
I'm sure you've seen them.
I forward them. Yeah.
Yeah, wait, here,
Mr. Cheeks would like
Hold
to
on one second.
Dave's got some.
All right, Dan, you haven't talked. It's only fair to let you talk. Go ahead, Dan.
For me, this reminds me, we're all here for Bob, I don't think you and Austin were, the sinkhole situation.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot use tax dollars on personal and private property. To me, this falls under the same category, it goes without saying, that you cannot use tax dollars for this situation. I mean, we can't do it.
You're employing it in the state.
Well, no, I understand it, but
Well,
I'm
what
saying,
we've done.
I'm relating it to that, what was it, cistern?
It was a
I'm relating
sister.
it to that. We could not help that person.
That was not our job duty.
I understand, but we could not help that person. Hey, I'm speaking, man.
should we let him talk?
We could not help that person because we couldn't use tax dollars for that situation. To me, this is the same situation. It's a private matter. It'd be like them filling it, be like, oh, we can't pay for that sinkhole. If you fill it, we'll reimburse you. Couldn't do that. To me, it's the same scenario. It's a private situation. That was a private situation. Can't use tax dollars. Now, saying that, do I agree with the resolution? No. But I still would never vote to give the tax dollars to a private matter. I mean, you can make me sign a pledge, I'd be more,
I
that would be
posed
great.
this question to you, Dan. What if somebody else was on the ballot, not Kerry?
I mean,
What if it's not a person, not Kerry? What if there was a challenger? What if Pam was on the ballot?
so two people running for one position.
Pam was on the ballot for
Well, the
Kerry.
error was still made and so money was still spent, but it wasn't
No,
spent.
no, back up. Now the money's not spent. Now we're sitting here. Now we're sitting here. Two people, the clerk, incumbent clerk running, a challenger running against the clerk. Our clerk, our W-2 employee, made an error. Wow, what do you do?
That depends if somebody paid for that error to be fixed.
Who should
I
pay
mean,
for
you
that?
should have to count
You're
that.
gonna say it's nobody was spent.
Who should pay for it?
Well, either way, I don't think it's a village issue anyways. I think it'd be a county issue.
Well, I agree with that, but the judge, the court felt differently at that time. But let's just hypothetically, Pam was challenging Kerry on a ballot, and that she was lucky. What's your position? Do we
That
help?
will fall under a protest, just like.
No protest, we would have to file a lawsuit, intervene.
Well, if it's two combating people and one holds the position, that would be a conflict of interest because you're gonna watch nothing off on purpose. Totally different scenario.
No,
This is
they're
all about
they're
reimbursing money.
they're both left off. The sheet didn't make it. There was a
They
name.
can split it, I guess.
Did you read?
I'm just saying, the way I feel about it, I relate it to that sinkhole. I mean, there's a million different ways we can do.
Sinkhole's not our
Scenario.
I didn't thought that.
Hold on, Jeff.
Employees.
For
Jeff, you're
We
interrupting
can
all the
split this
time.
however we want. It's just-
Dan, you know what?
I'm just saying, I interpret it as that sinkhole. Like I said, I think it's a personal attack, I agree, but I agree with not using tax dollars for.
Never been asked you to tax dollars yet. This resolution, as this discussion has, is singling out. So
It is one or quite substantial. I'm good.
All right, go ahead, Betsy.
So I just two short things to say that Carrie wouldn't admit that she wasn't going to come after us, that this is to cover us for that. The reason that the judge, when I read the transcript, didn't say 1 of 3, it said 1 of 2 and 2 of 2. There wasn't a third page. It wasn't a miss. It wasn't done. It's not like it was it didn't get sent. It was never done. So it was, totally an error on her part. And it is her problem. So this is to cover the village. And that's what we discussed this last meeting. So I'm for this.
And then,
President, may we-
hold on, I would like to speak, and you get to go after me. As long as you feel a little
I will go on television.
I had followed up with Austin's email, and I wrote, despite all the wrangling, the personal interest, the forensics audit, violations of our ordinances, policies, municipal laws, the credit card uses, pointed out in the forensics audit, it must be highlighted and pointed out that the conflict of interest to which whom all collected signatures for the clerk's petitions needs to be noted. Mr. Costanza, you're the primary collector of all the signatures. There will be motivation and a conflict of interest going forward for several incoming trustees who have collected those signatures to vote to reimburse their friend and candidate of choice the $13,604.34 at the taxpayer's expense, and expenses occurred for filing said lawsuit to get on the ballot due to said personal error by the clerk. Review petition signature sheets, please. Since the last meeting, the clerk said as of only now, she has no plans to seek reimbursement. This implies she will file suit against or request the village in the future, as past precedent has shown, in order to seek reimbursement when her friends are sworn in. Then the new board will settle the suit for an undisclosed amount of money for her mistake in the personal gain. It is probable in the best interest of the village, considering all circumstances, that it is not in the best interest, nor would it probably be legal for the village to reimburse the clerk for the $13,604.37 for said personal expenses and personal gain. However, though, the village board may actually, under law, and can theoretically take a roll call vote to approve a trip to Europe and in Las Vegas, just like in Dalton, Illinois, for the entire elected board if they so choose to go to Europe or Las Vegas. As long as there was a roll call vote according to municipal law, they can do that. However, everyone knows this would not sit well with the voters and residents of Poplar Grove. So the new board may choose to do it as they wish. The new board can vote to do whatever they want. This board is just making a statement that it is not prudent and it is not practical to do that. So I approve Austin's direction to place this on the agenda as item number 1. So, yes, Mr. Alden.
Okay, I'm not gonna make a statement, but what I am gonna do is ask a handful of questions. Okay. Can everybody look at this without emotion? Stop and think, every one of you ran for election. What would happen if your name did not get placed on the ballot for the error of a W-2 employee? It's a question. Question is, another question, is the clerk a W-2 employee of the village? Is
Yes.
the village,
They're an elected official.
is,
She's a W-2.
They're not
Just like-
employed.
gentlemen, I have the floor, please.
He doesn't understand.
Sir, I have the floor, please.
My apologies.
Next question. Is the village insured for E&O in these types of situations? Mr. Sadler, if your name had been accidentally omitted from the ballot, would you not pursue a corrective action? Mr. Goings, would you not pursue a corrective action? Trustee No,
Oh,
Cheek, Trustee Cheek, would you pursue a corrective action? Trustee Straw, would you pursue a corrective action? And at the end of the day, who is ultimately responsible to deal with that corrective action? Thank you.
Yes, sir.
That's exactly one angle that I'm concerned about. No one has Latino insurance coverage.
Made a pass.
Still, I think be unethical, would not sit well with the village of Poplar Grove. And there's all kinds of issues with that. Of course, the clerk cannot sue herself as plaintiff and defendant. But insurance coverage, which Mr. Costanza knows all about, may be an angle. I see. And it's just the reason why we need this resolution to make it clear to the people of the village of Poplar Grove it stands for the current board and why it shouldn't be done.
I agree. All right, I think we probably argued this So we're blue in the face.
Not yet.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that too.
Oh, we got another, you have another public comment coming up here.
Sure, you're,
Past behavior is a predictor of future behavior. Previously, and it was her fiance filed lawsuit against this village to keep
He's
the
my
clerk.
husband now.
At the time, I have point of order, please do not interrupt me.
All right, let's control ourselves, please. You may proceed.
At the time of 2016, Attorney Miller filed a lawsuit against the village of Poplar Grove on behalf of his fiance to keep the position of the clerk elected rather than being an appointed position. The village at the time had made a motion to put it forward that that would be changed and ended up withdrawing that motion so that she could become elected to avoid taxpayer money with a lawsuit. Anybody disagree with those facts? Rockford Register Star. That being said, we now have a situation. Is past behavior going to occur again? That is what we do not know. That is an unknown factor at this point. She's unwilling to say yes or no, whether something is going to happen. What is before you could have been drafted by anyone. You have a term in the legal community called pro se, where you can go into a court of law and represent yourself. Your own attorney said that that could be voted on to set a precedence. And the new board, at any time going forward, could rescind that. I suggest you do vote on it. You go on the record on your position of how taxpayer money may or may not be used going forward. We're all waiting for your answers, and it should be a roll call vote, and I am not responding to you, Mr. Goins.
you don't live in the village, do you?
You're
I
out of
am a-
order,
I am
Mr.
a
Goins.
resident of Boone County.
Thank you.
It is anyone that can come up
Thank
here and
you.
participate in
I
a
agree.
public meeting.
I agree, thank you for coming, I appreciate
Well,
it.
you're very welcome.
You're the best.
Look forward to your report on Mary Thornberry.
Yes, and Don Saylor, for sure.
We don't need to make threats against people in the
No,
audience.
we're looking forward to her reporting. That's a
It's
compliment.
intimidation
That's
and
a
a threat.
compliment.
All right. Well, let's move on with call a question here and have a roll call vote for resolution 2025-01.
I had a question. I never got to ask the
You-
attorney.
You've been talking a lot.
Well, I had my hand up and I let Mr. Rogers speak, I let Mr. Allgood speak. Do I not get to ask the attorney questions? Mr. Stewart?
Yeah.
Could you give us a little explanation about Owens theory and how that is with the W-2 employee? Was he correct on his explanation? I'm trying to get all sides so I can think before I vote. So could you give us some insight on that?
No, I understand. This is a issue,
Listen.
this is an issue which is complicated, and has many implications. In my view, a municipality could make a decision that the clerk made an error and pay for it. I would say that most communities would take the position that this was a private problem, and in fact would not be paid for, especially in terms of the lawsuit in court, as I understand it. But I believe that either one would ultimately be upheld by a court.
All right. Roll call vote.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Right.
Stewart.
Jeff Goins,
No.
Bruce Moore,
Would we vote back?
the resolution.
The resolution. It's gonna put them in my.
The resolution to not.
Yes.
Yes.
Betsy Straw, Austin Davies,
Yes.
Dan Cheek,
Abstain.
Owen Costanza,
No.
And I vote yes. 4 yeses, 2 noes, 1 abstain. Resolution 2025-21 passes for this board. Moving on, item number 6 has been tabled. Moving on, item number 7, we have on the table a motion to approve check disbursement for payments scheduled to be paid before April 30, 2025, in the amount of $147,973.75 in AP checks, $18,568.20 in insurance expense checks, $27,915.42 in EFTs, and $59,800.61 in payroll, for a total of $265,466.77.
So, moved.
Second.
Motion by Owen and second by.
Owen, motion by Jeff.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's our last
Motion by Jeff, second by.
President,
Yes, Austin.
reviewing, the attached, the check registers, the treasurer's report, and it shows that on April 14th, there was thousands on Amazon.com purchases, over $1,000 at Menards, and over 1,000 at O'Reilly Auto Parts. None, for the description, there's numbers and letters, but they're not words. It doesn't actually describe what those purchases were, so I don't believe there's any way of discerning what those purchases were for.
Yeah, okay.
They were probably all for appropriate things, but there's no way for the trustees to view that and determine what those are for. Tonight at 6:35 PM, shortly before the meeting, the clerk emailed out our village credit card statement, which didn't have the description of anything like that, as well as the Home Depot statement and the Marathon statement. So, we still have no description or way of telling what these thousands of dollars in purchases at Amazon, Menards, and other parts were for. So for that reason, I can't vote to approve this. We're gonna have another meeting here shortly for the new board to be sworn in. Perhaps they can all be provided with that information, which should be provided at every meeting, for the trustees to do their job and review what is being purchased and audit that every meeting before they approve of the check disbursements and payments. Because as we've learned before, if the village trustees approve things tonight, such as this, which we're being asked to approve, and we don't know what's in it, we can't go back in the future and claim that something was purchased or spent that shouldn't have been. So for that reason, I won't be voting in favor of this.
I would like to add, one of the things that we requested the treasurer at the time, and, all the confusion going on with that, accounts payable, invoices paid was supposed to be a report that was provided in the report, so that's not in here either.
So you, can I ask you, please?
Yes, Mr. Gold.
So Carrie's gonna write this down. You want an AP, so here's what it is. If you would like, there's only a certain amount of characters that they can put in for descriptions. I just asked Carrie to get you the Amazon invoices so you can see exactly what we purchased. So from here moving forward, I'm gonna ask that Heidi send them out, just like we get the credit card ones. I'll have her send the O'Reilly's Auto Parts, whichever ones you would like to have. In the future, it's not a problem, like, just ask for it, we don't have to delay it. So I'm gonna have her go get the invoices now, so you can take the time to go through them, and so we can approve it tonight. And this way, we can mail the checks so we don't have any late fees.
This
This
is
is
an
why
actual
we
per
do
month.
this.
The invoices
And we've
paid,
explained it. Can I finish? We've explained it. There's only a certain amount of characters that you are allowed to put in with our system that we use. Betsy can say to this, she knows this, she's seen this from Karina. You're only allowed so much room for the characters for explanation. But we're more than willing to cater to you tonight and have you
The
look at these.
characters don't say anything, Jeff. You have an invoice number is what you use to pay.
Right, but
The
the
description-
description amount is limited. You know
It
that.
doesn't say anything.
may I interrupt?
Go ahead.
I did the forensics audit. Invoices paid is a report that comes out of our reporting system, and it has a description in it that is plenty clear, there's plenty of characters. What we're talking about right here is 0 characters. The invoices paid report is a report that is supposed to be in every single packet when we approve these checks. It was removed about 4 years ago, 6 months prior to me coming into office, and it was asked a year ago to be put in, and it has been in there, and this is the first time not. I don't know if sickage or if something has occurred in the office that they didn't understand the request, but it's not here now.
And it was here, and we will get
It
it.
is not here now.
Not now.
And your story, Mr. Goings, of that there's not enough characters is false
To list
and a
everyone.
blatant
It's
lie.
not false, Richard, don't put
It
words
is an
in my mouth.
absolute lie that there's not enough room for characters.
Gary, let's move on, take the vote.
And I'd like to add that I've seen descriptions before, so Mr. Going is not being truthful.
I'm lying, right? Gary,
Jeff, when did you review all the invoices and all
Today.
the descriptions?
Today I went through them.
And so what?
I didn't
report did
see
you
this.
see?
I seen everything that they bought off Amazon, everything is listed. There's about 10 pages
You
of it.
saw a different report.
No, I seen the actual billing from Amazon. Would you like to have that? We can put that in.
Actually,
That's a
Austin,
different report.
Austin is correct.
Yeah.
A couple months ago, that was supposed to be.
Right, and then
Austin's
with
correct.
Trina and everything, and he's still learning,
It was
so.
supposed to be.
We'll talk to him.
Austin's correct.
Sam, don't say I'm lying though, because it is limited space for explanation for everyone. There's not enough room in the box to fill for
There-
every explanation.
That is a falsehood completely. The invoices paid report has room for about 100 characters, and it is very easily described what is in there. If you pull out a report of invoices paid, you can see.
Would you like to delete these items from this list
Hold over to the next meeting.
or vote the entire thing down? You could make a motion simply to not pay those 2 items and to approve the rest.
I'll make the motion.
Why don't you make a motion over?
Well,
We're
we
meeting.
need to mail the checks out.
That's my third. When we check
I'll second Owen's motion.
I just don't have late charge.
So it's a motion to,
Hold it over to the 23rd.
continue the action on the bills until the 23rd.
So we have a motion by Owen to hold over to the 23rd with a second by Austin, I believe.
Would you like the invoices? I could still get them.
Hey, Vince, you got something to like. Yeah. You give everybody else, you can fill out a comment form?
I can.
Yeah.
So as an incoming trustee, I would like to see the report corrected before I vote on it too,
Right,
right? So
Amen.
that's- Okay, thanks.
absolutely.
Yellow form for that?
Yes, please.
It'll be up to the incoming trustees to make sure that invoices paid report is in there like it was requested, and it has been for the last several months.
So it should be in the packet for the agenda.
Right, and it's usually there, I think I forgot, but it is limited, because when you get 10 different.
Well, what's the invoice?
No, I know,
Upload the invoice with the.
that's what I think we should do, that way everyone can see every invoice.
I get it was a mistake,
Right.
but
Should never sign a blank.
All right.
Like what?
Well, it's down details.
All right, I guess we can just do a voice vote to postpone this to the 23rd. Those in favor to postpone agenda item 7 to the 23rd, say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Agenda item 7, pay the bills by the 30th, is postponed to the 23rd meeting. And moving on for the good of the village, item number 8, we got Village Hall closed for Good Friday on April 18th. Board of Trustee meeting May 14th at 7 p.m. Board of Trustee meeting on May 21st, 7 p.m. And there's Poplar Community Market on May 31st, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. And don't forget the meeting on the 23rd. We will have this agenda item, number 7, and we will be swearing in the new trustees, I believe, is on the 23rd too. Is that correct? Okay,
What?
so, see you then.
Move to adjourn.
Motion adjourned by Owen. Second. And second by Bruce. I think that was Bruce.
Yeah,
23rd is this morning.
all those in favor?
Those against adjourning? All right, we are adjourned at 7:55,
What are
April
we doing? What?
16th.
That's,
Thank you, Mark.